Come the evening of July the 5th, 1819, folk were going about their daily tasks, working in the fields while birds sweetly sang. The teacher sat in the porch waiting for the schoolmaster to appear before Bible reading class could begin. Meanwhile, the attending children happily played, running up and down the churchyard, little knowing the impending doom that was to befall them. The schoolmaster duly arrived, readings began, and when done, was followed with a final hymn. "O let me, heavenly Lord, extend my view to life's approaching end." Lynn, July the 15th. During the dreadful thunderstorm on the evening of Monday se'nnight, the electric fluid struck the top of Sedgeford steeple on the west side and precipitated to the ground several stones of considerable magnitude, making a breach in the wall of about a yard square. The lightning also passed through the church, entering it at a window near the porch on the south side, and after crossing it in a northeast direction, it made its escape at two places in an upper window near the chancel on the north side. An evening school was held previous to the occurrence of the above accident, which happened about 9 o'clock in the evening. The dismay occasioned by the awful conflict of the elements may be better conceived than described. The children rushed out of the church nearly in a state of distraction, uttering the most dreadful shrieks. Parents in search of their children, the incessant and vivid flashes of lightning succeeded momentarily by dreadful peals of thunder, accompanied with torrents of rain and hail such as were never remembered by the oldest inhabitants, formed a scene truly terrific. A girl about 14 years of age, the daughter of Robert Nobes, was left in the schoolroom, and on being missed, her father went in search of her, when on entering the room he found her lifeless on the floor. Fear is supposed to have been the cause of her death, as there was no appearance of the electric fluid having entered the room. A few pieces of mortar were detached from the ceiling, which in all probability was affected by the shock communicated to the steeple, or by the concussion of the stones falling to the ground.
Serves notice via Hermes. I can mind read his no-show. Birds of access. Mind wreaks chaos, and it mocks the gods' control. Man-made death tides, winds, quakes, burnouts, heat, light, sound, once all.
Neptune swayed, fairy ringed, angel buttered. Now they blow. Past my epoch, my 4 cycles, a million years hurling thunderbolts and miracles. I let it go. Gone my long reign, and its subtle vapors shaped shifting cloud, breath of God's shadow falling as rain, my own shadow. King of God's eye, yet angels and gods looking down pray for low birth to ascend where we high spirits go. King God! I return to the earth as a star, raise the standard of what men may become. The hero. Man and not God. With my lightning confined in a blade, earthed to die there like a man, past the third heaven so. As Saint Michael, ageless angel, took one lifetime as a man to be God the day his body died, so let me be known. I embrace this girl among the lowest of the low.
Such was the force of the lightning strike that stones from the tower were dislodged and thrown down to the ground, and the water poured in almost deep enough to drown, forcing its way into the graves within the church. That would have been bad enough, but this occurred at the same time Mrs. Catherine Francis Rolfe, the village squire's wife, and the master, William Harrison, were holding a Bible reading class for the young children in the vestry, which was sited immediately below and between the tower and south porch, where the lightning first entered the church. Now, sometime before this, they had seen flashes of lightning through the church window. It was very awful, but the lady thought that they were well enough employed, and she did not wish that they should go away before they had done. When the singing was over, they all knelt down to pray. The lightning rapidly increased and seemed to fill the window with a blaze of light, but the master went on praying in a very earnest manner. He is one who loves Christ, and I dare say he thought if he or any of his little flock were to be struck dead, they could not do better than die on their knees, seeking mercy from Jesus. So he did not pray less because of the storm, but longer, though it was so very dreadful that all present really thought that they should soon be killed. You may fancy how awful it was when I tell you that a thunderbolt struck the steeple and forced down a beam from the roof just over the door of the vestry where they all were. Large stones were also broken off the steeple. The noise was like the sound of a great gun close by, and there was a strong smell of brimstone. The lady, the master, and the two girls were struck down by the lightning. One of the girls, Catherine Flary, was in an agony of terror, crying out, "Indeed, I will strive to sin no more!" The children were so frightened that they began to scream and run about as if they were beside themselves. The lady begged them not to run away from her, but they all ran away, except the master and the children, who stayed with the lady in a corner of the church. By and by it gave over, thundering and lightning. The lady and the master and the children who had stayed with them then knelt down and thanked God for having kept them safe among so much danger. The father of Susan Nobes came to inquire after his daughter. He had been waiting at home for some time, anxiously expecting her return, for he was a man who dearly loved his children, and though he could not keep them from the dangers of such a dreadful storm, yet it was natural for him to wish to have them about him at such an awful time. So after looking for her in vain, he went to the church, and not finding her, he went with the lady and the schoolmaster into the vestry, and after looking about, They found poor Susan lying in a corner behind the door, and would fain have persuaded himself she was only in a fit, but her head hung back. There were black zigzag lines on her side where the light string had struck her, and he soon found that she was only embracing her dead body, and that the soul had gone. Amongst the many lamentable effects of the thunderstorm on Sunday the 4th inst, we record the loss sustained by a very respectable farmer, Mr. William Unglass of Whitwell, near Reefham, as a case of peculiar hardship. The violence of the hail was such as totally to destroy his barley crop. A great proportion of his wheat is entirely spoiled, and the rest very materially injured. Thus, in one short hour, all his expectations of reaping the fruits of his toil and expense were blasted, and ruin stared him in the face. The loss, on the most moderate computation of some gentlemen who have examined the crops, amounts to very near £600, and that on a farm of only 180 acres. There were black zigzag lines on her side where the lightning had struck her. I've been death's bride 200 years, and much too young to die. Let me take you back to 1819,